General disclaimer. Welcome to this official presentation on Affiliate Marketing Model 3.0. All presenters are providing their services on a volunteer basis and are active participants in all products they are presenting. Their views and opinions do not necessarily reflect those of the organisation. While we aim for accuracy, errors may occur. All content is for informational purposes only. The information provided is general and not personalised advice. We are not liable for any losses. We provide information and systems, but we do not endorse any purchases of memberships. Your decisions are yours alone, so we advise conducting thorough research. If uncertain, seek guidance from a qualified professional. Attendees accept these terms by continuing to view this presentation. Let's explore affiliate marketing cautiously and curiously. Legal disclaimer. You are viewing an Affiliate Marketing 3.0 official presentation. All products and services, their component parts and operating methods and systems, either provided by or created by Affiliate Marketing 3.0, belong solely to Affiliate Marketing 3.0. All IPs are protected. Anyone copying, distributing, or reselling any Affiliate Marketing 3.0 product without express permission risks serious legal consequences. Any unauthorized broadcasting, live streaming, or social media sharing of Affiliate Marketing 3.0 presentations is strictly prohibited. Downloading and re-uploading presentations without permission violates copyright law and may also lead to legal consequences. Okay, hello, good evening and welcome. It is Wednesday, it is 3FO payday and it is update day. Unfortunately, I am both saddened and actually joyed to be able to say to you that unfortunately Chavez isn't going to be with us this evening. But I'm happy to say it is because he is in Singapore still finalising all of the paperwork for liquid pay and for DO banking. So lots of things are coming together right now. So by the end of this month, I expect that we'll see some real movement on things, and hopefully Chavez will be with us next Wednesday to be able to give us the full update. So keep coming because he will be here. It's just unfortunate that the timing is such that he has to be in Singapore to be able to finalize everything in order to get DO banking live. After all, many territories around the world have been waiting for liquid pay to go live, least of which is America. Of course, they've been waiting almost an entire year for liquid pay to go live and for DO banking to come. So hopefully we are nearing the end of that process, and once everything is finalized, liquid pay and DO banking will be pushed live in all of the territories that it was previously unavailable. But tonight you have the pleasure of my company for an extended period of time where I'm not going to do a normal corporate presentation. I have got a presentation that I have prepared for this evening that tonight will be my first presentation of this particular PowerPoint. But before I do that, I would like to share just one thing, so don't go away, and I will bring it up. Okay, so I just would like to inform everybody that we have now launched a brand new community Zoom on a Sunday evening. We did our first one on the Sunday just gone, and it was very successful. This is not an official corporate event. This is a Zoom designed specifically and instigated by Lucky specifically for the community, to give you the ability to come along and have a chat with us, and you can voice your opinion, you can make your comments, make your suggestions. You can, of course, ask questions. From time to time, we will provide certain bits of training. But this is an open forum where you can come and get to know the leadership a little bit better, allow us to get to know you a little bit better, and see how we can facilitate the growth of this community together as a team, and see how we can help you to help yourselves to become more engaged within our ecosystem. After all, we are all here on the mutual benefit of growing this company to be the success that we believe it can be, so it remains standing strong for the next decade and beyond. So please do join us. Although it isn't an official corporate Zoom, the link is released on the corporate channel, Telegram channel. So do keep your eye out for that. It is on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. UK time, 11 p.m. UAE time, and 2 p.m. EST time. Okay, so let me now move to this. Okay, brilliant. So thank you very much. We still have plenty of room, so please do reach out to your community, because the information that I'm going to be sharing with you now, in my opinion, is important information. And yes, of course, it's always disappointing to not have Chavez here. He's a great presence to have, but he is doing important work for us, the community. But the information I'm going to give you this evening, we're going to look at harvesting Bitcoin code, understanding the principle of assets, understanding the principle of B fuel, and why you mustn't conflate the value of Bitcoin code with the cost of mining, with the cost of B fuel. Because in actual fact, if you understand what we are creating here, if you understand the principle of assets, then you understand that the cost of mining actually is irrelevant. It's just about having trust, having faith. Remember, all those years ago, people started mining Bitcoin with nothing more than a vision. Anyway, so let's begin. So I want to start with just talking briefly about gold. We're going to go through a few different things here. Now, excuse me, sorry, got a bit of frog in my throat there. Now, the process of mining gold is a very, very expensive process. It's extremely labor intensive. You've got to be able to spend millions of dollars on mining equipment. You need thousands and thousands of staff. You need processing equipment to process the gold, to refine the gold, to get it to the final product before it can go to market. It is an extremely expensive process. Now, the global average cost of gold is around $1,400 to $1,500 per ounce. On a low cost, you're looking at around $1,100 to $1,300. And on the higher end, you're looking at around $2,000 to $2,100 per ounce for gold mining, to mine gold. You can see that's a tremendous amount of expense per ounce. $2,000 per ounce of gold. It's a very, very expensive process to search, find, mine, process gold. I've forgotten I've done these bits. See, this is good practice. Now, if we look at gold price over the last 100 years, so back in 1933, it was $35 an ounce. In 1980, it was $875 an ounce. In 2011, $1,900 per ounce. And in 2020, $2,075 an ounce. You can see over the last 100 years, the value of gold has gone up and up and up. Because as we go through the years, the cost, I imagine, increases. The equipment, even though we've got more innovative and newer equipment in this day and age, of course, the expense is still there. So as of February this year, you're looking at $5,000 an ounce. So who benefits from this price increase? Well, the people who are holding. I mean, if you look here, you've got United States, who's holding, what's that, over, I can't read what that number is, it hasn't got it there. But you've got the United States, Germany, Italy, France, and Russia. These are the top 5 nations that are holding gold at the moment. But so it's the people who had it at the early stage that are getting the best value out of this. The people who have been mining and holding gold, or who've bought gold when the price was at $30, $40, $50, $100, these are the people that are benefiting the most from the price increase. These are the economies. When we talk about countries and geopolitics, you're looking at the countries that hold the most gold are in the best financial position. But where's the UK in this list? When I did research, when I was researching to put this together, I thought in the top 5 surely would be the UK. Then I looked in the top 10 and the UK wasn't even in the top 10. Then I looked in the top 20 and the UK wasn't even in the top 20 of gold holders. Okay, not even in the top 20. And that's because in May of 1999, the UK Treasury under Gordon Brown, and I can remember this happening, the Chancellor of the Exchequer sold 395 tons of gold reserves that we once owned. That's approximately 56% of the gold that we owned, we sold. Now, obviously, I dug a little deeper into this to see why we sold it. So there was various different reasons on why, or that was used to justify selling all of our gold. Obviously, I'm not going to go into that here. But of course, had we have still had that gold, we've still got, around 300 tons sitting around somewhere. But had we have kept all of this gold, think of how we would have benefited in the way that these other 5 countries have benefited. Because gold now, gold in the 80s, what did we say in the 80s? In 1980 was $875. So what would it be? What would be our value? How would our economy fare if we had all of this gold backing our economy? The value now at $5,000 from $800. So I think it's fair to say that the UK has probably lost out on a tremendous amount of value out of the gold that we were holding because we sold it for other things that actually haven't worked out in the way that we thought it would. So how do people pay for the gold mining? Of course, it's an expensive process. How do people pay for it? Well, it costs $90 million to $500 million to set up a mining process. Before you even find 1 ounce of gold, it costs between $90 million and $500 million to set up a mining project. And this is done by borrowing. Banks provide massive loans tied specifically to the mine's project outlook. With streaming and royalties, a company gives a miner upfront cash to build the mine. In exchange, the miner agrees to sell a percentage of their future gold to that company at a fixed below market value. Sometimes they raise equity. So small miners often sell shares in stock exchanges, to fund exploration and to generate working capital until they reach the point of profitability. Now, if you look at this, what is this really telling you? It's telling you that it's all being done on credit. They are borrowing either huge amounts of money to set up their mining consideration, or they are promising reduced price gold when it's found, or they're giving shares, selling shares of that project to people, all on the premise of how much gold you're going to find, what the value of gold will be in the next months and years. So if you never mine and process the gold, the asset is worthless. The gold in the ground has no value. It can't be spent. It cannot be realized. So the gold that you do not mine, that you do not process, has zero value. So how do we give it value? Well, we give it value by extracting it from the ground, by processing it and extracting all of the impurities, making it solid, complete and utter gold. 1 bar of gold with no impurities. And that's how it gets its value. And then, of course, in the marketplace, it gets sold at a higher price than it cost to mine it. So let's look at Bitcoin 2026. Now, people mine Bitcoin by using these ant miners, but back in the early days, the very early days, you could mine it just using a computer. You didn't need extensive equipment. But since the last halving, the cost of these miners has doubled in price. I can remember because I was looking into mining Bitcoin a few years back, and these miners were selling anywhere from around $1,500 to $2,000. There were a few cheaper ones, there were a few more expensive, but after the halving in 2024, the price of these miners doubled. Now, why has the price of these miners doubled? Because the value of Bitcoin had pretty much doubled. The value of Bitcoin had gone from $50,000, $60,000 or $20,000 at one point up to 60. So it hits roughly $70,000 in 2024, and then of course went on to hit new all-time highs of $90,000 and then $122,000, I think it was. So I've not looked to see if these miners have changed price since then, but this is the research that I did after the halving. The cost of mining has increased. The value of Bitcoin increased. Therefore, the equipment needed has become more valuable. Alongside that, you need this cooling equipment because mining Bitcoin is a very energy-centric system. It uses a tremendous amount of electricity, and it also generates a tremendous amount of heat. So you need cooling equipment. So just to set up one miner, you're looking at, we say here, look, you're looking at $4,000. If you buy some mining equipment, you're looking at maybe $5,000 just to set up your mining equipment. And that is without the cost attached to mining Bitcoin. So if we look at the price history of Bitcoin, so 2010, 9 cents. If you bought $100 of Bitcoin at 9 cents, you would have $1,111 Bitcoin. In 2016, it hit $900. At this point, you would be a millionaire. Would that have been worth the cost of mining your Bitcoin in those early years? Whatever the cost was, would it have been worth becoming a millionaire? Of course, in 2024, we hit a new all-time high of $73,000. Your 1,111 Bitcoin at $73,000 means you would have $81 million in value. Would that have been worth mining and paying the electricity bill for? Was that worth it? It took Bitcoin 3 years to cross the $100 mark, 5 years to cross the $1,000 mark, 6 years to cross the $10,000 mark, 15 years to hit $73,000. Was it worth the wait? Knowing what you know now, was that worth the wait? If you knew then what you knew now, would you have put $1,000 into Bitcoin? Would you have bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin in 2014? What about in 2016 when it was $900? Would you have bought, or would you have put $1,000 into Bitcoin? So you would have had just over 1 Bitcoin. Would it have been worth buying? Of course, it's easy in retrospect. So let's look at the average costs. So the global theoretical average, $92,298. The global break-even point is $87,000, which means the average is $92,000, and this often exceeds the current spot price. Many miners are currently operating at a loss or relying on what's called stranded energy. I won't go into too much detail there. This is something that's interesting putting these PowerPoints together. I learn a lot as well. So right now, the average cost of mining Bitcoin is $92,000. Now, I know there are places around the world where people are mining it for $3,000, for $50,000, for $6,000, for, the price varies hugely around the world. Okay, but we're looking at it from the perspective of us, the average person. We're not looking at the millionaire and billionaire who has the ability to buy 10,000 miners and set them up in a warehouse in the middle of India, where the cost of electricity is pennies compared to our electricity. We're looking at it from the perspective of us, the average everyday person who's setting up mining Bitcoin. Okay, right now, the price of Bitcoin is $67,000. So anybody in the Western world that is mining Bitcoin from home is now currently mining at a deficit. I believe that this is worded incorrectly. It says operating at a loss. It's operating at a deficit. I don't necessarily see that as a loss, and you'll see why as we go along. So the current price, $70,000, as of 9th of February 2026, so this was when I put the presentation together, was 70,000. It's dropped in price since then. So who's benefited from these price increases that's happened over the years? Well, of course, the hodlers, the people that held on to Bitcoin, the people that understood the vision, the people that could see the revolution that was happening, the early adopters, the people who got in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, even 2016, when it hit $20,000. Right now, they are benefiting from that price increase. And if you look at the names on this list, and I don't know how accurate this list is, this was just a quick AI search that I'd done. You're looking at MicroStrategy, BlackRock, Binance, Coinbase, Satoshi Nakamoto. I've no idea if that's the real photograph of him. But, these companies are holding Bitcoin. Why are they holding Bitcoin? They're buying it off the market at retail price, and they're holding it. They're not even, well, they may be mining it, but for sure they're buying it at a retail price as well. Right now it's at $69,000. I wouldn't be at all surprised if people are now, some of these companies are buying up Bitcoin, maybe not in large amounts. From my own research as well, I think there's still a little further for the system to drop, but nonetheless, these are the people that are benefiting. These are the people who are now millionaires and billionaires because they got in early, they started buying it early, they held on to it in the hope that the vision that they could see that was developing in front of their eyes would become a reality. So how do people who are mining Bitcoin pay for that? If you're mining at such an expensive price, how do you pay for it? Well, firstly, they borrow money. They deposit their mined Bitcoin into a vault as collateral. Some lender will give them a loan in USDT or GBP to pay the utility company. And they pay that bill without losing their stack, hoping that Bitcoin price will eventually cover the cost. So they're borrowing from a bank or from some lending system. They are borrowing against the Bitcoin they already have, the Bitcoin they have already mined. Sometimes they do a sell to pay system. So they have daily liquidation. So every day the miner automatically sends a portion of their newly mined Bitcoin to an exchange like Kraken or Coinbase and converts it into fiat currency, and they pay their electricity bill. Direct settlement. Large industrial hosting sites often offer an all-in-one billing system where they simply deduct the electricity cost directly from the miner's Bitcoin rewards before the profit ever hits the miner's wallet. Again, if you look at it, what are they doing? They are mining in credit. They are either borrowing funds off of a company, or they are selling their Bitcoin that they've mined in order to pay their electricity bill, or they are using their existing Bitcoin as collateral for companies where they can get a contract, an all-in-one system that they're able to pay their electricity bill. They are essentially mining in credit. So if you don't mine, if you never buy miner, I have never had a Bitcoin miner in my life. So I have 0 Bitcoin. So what is Bitcoin worth to me? It's worth nothing, because I don't own anything. I can't spend it. I can't borrow against it. I can't sell it to anybody. It's worth nothing. If you never mine Bitcoin and process the Bitcoin, the asset is worthless. If everybody stopped mining Bitcoin right now, I wonder what impact that would have on the long-term price of Bitcoin. It's already high value because of its scarcity. But if everybody stopped mining right now, I wonder what impact that would have on the price of Bitcoin. So let's look at Bitcoin code. Pre-halving, remember, we are only a baby on this journey. We're still in our first 4-year stretch, which we have our first halving in 2027. We mine using NFT miners. So we mine online. And our cheapest miner is $50, not $4,000. It's $50. Our next is $500. And our most expensive is $5,000. And this is cost now. So, okay, sorry. So it's very, very inexpensive to begin mining Bitcoin code. It's accessible to everybody. And mining Bitcoin isn't now. It was, but now it isn't. Not anybody can just set up a mining rig. And to have one rig against the thousands that are out there, it's not going to be easy to win that competition of mining. But here, you can start mining Bitcoin code for just $50 and become part of the game. You can become the early adopter. So what's the cost of mining? Well, we use B-fuel, of course. This is the virtual electricity that Chavez has created for the cost of mining. And the $50 miner costs $3 a day to run. That's it. $3 a day to run. The cost of mining, or the price of the B fuel, never ever changes. The $500 mine costs $30 a day to run. The $5,000 miner costs $300 a day to run. Now, I haven't updated this. I just screenshotted this from a previous presentation, just brought it across. The price isn't massively important. So from a start of just $3, remember we launched in October 2023 at $3. We hit an all-time high of $217. And the cost is B fuel, the specially created token for the cost of mining, virtual electricity. There has to be a cost, otherwise where's the value? Even when it comes to mining gold, if mining gold was free and gold was everywhere, you were tripping up on it when you walk down the street, it would have no value. It is the scarcity of gold that gives it its value. It is the extreme expense of mining gold that gives it its value. It's the scarcity of Bitcoin that gives it its value. It is the extreme cost of mining that gives it its value. Bitcoin code is going through the same process. We have more people mining Bitcoin in the Bitcoin code in the early stages than Bitcoin had in its early stages. So the scarcity of Bitcoin code is already having an impact on the price, having an impact on the cost of mining. This cost of B fuel, which is 0.0125, is fixed. That will never ever change. The cost of B fuel will always be 0.0125, unlike standard electricity, which fluctuates in price, generally keeps on going up over time. But we are mining on credit. Just like everybody else, we are mining on credit. You mine, it comes onto the DApp. Now we need to harvest. The average cost to mine one Bitcoin code at the moment is $350. So who's going to benefit most from the price increase? You, the hodler, you, the miner, you, the early adopter, all of you in the community that joined us back in October of 2023 that bought miners and launched on that day. I can't remember the exact date of launch. I think it may have been the 3rd, but I don't recall exactly. But we all had that Zoomathon where we launched the miners at the same time. And we all began mining Bitcoin code. And we have been doing so since then. Some of us have got thousands and thousands of Bitcoin code sitting in our wallets. Most of us have got thousands and thousands of Bitcoin code sitting on the DApp. If you do not extract that Bitcoin code off the DApp, it will never have value. You will never get to benefit from the future value of Bitcoin code. Now is the time to harvest. You see, an asset, the way you think about an asset is really important. If you continue to think of Bitcoin code as just something you can cash out, you will never get the value. The UK sold its gold in the 80s, whatever year it was, the 2000s, 90s, 2000s. Now it can never get that lost value back. The people that sold all their Bitcoin in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14 and never bought back in can never get that value back. They will never get the experience of being the millionaire and billionaire because that time has passed. I know someone who bought $50 worth of Bitcoin, and when they found the certificate 10 years later or whatever it was, they had $9,000 worth of Bitcoin and they sold it immediately. If they'd have held it, they would be retired and they would be a multimillionaire right now. They can never get that value back. You see, the idea of an asset is not its value when you sell it. It's the value that it will have in the future that you can borrow against. You would never consider a mortgage. Why will a bank give you $500,000 to buy a house? Well, they give it to you based on the value of that property and on the future value of that property. So you are the people that are going to benefit. You are the people that are potentially the future millionaires and billionaires of Bitcoin code, but not if you're not harvesting it. The price of Bitcoin code has been static for so long because you're not harvesting. The longer you wait, the longer it will take for the value to increase. Just $50 a month, $100 a month, bring it on chain. And watch that value go to $500, $700, $900, $1,000. Then you'll start to see the excitement boil. You'll start to see the vision open up in your front of your very eyes. So, how do you pay for your B fuel costs? Well, if you're fortunate enough to be a holder of a node, then the BTCC that you're receiving every month, which is practically free of charge. Remember, you're getting 182% APY. You can sell. You can swap it into USDT and then buy B fuel and harvest. If you don't have a node and you're not receiving or a validator, then of course you can bring in fresh funds. You can bridge it in. Chavez is creating a bridge on the base network, I believe, which is going to make it very cheap to bridge in. And you can just bridge in fresh funds into, well, you can buy with your money, you can buy USDT on the base network. You'll be able to bridge it into MetaMask on the base network, and then you'll be able to buy B fuel and harvest. But now's the time to be doing it. If you want Bitcoin code to cross $500, to cross $1,000, it's not going to happen when you wish for it. It's not going to happen when you hope for it. It's sure as hell not going to happen when you pray for it. It's only going to happen when you harvest and bring it on chain. So, profit or loss. This only occurs at the point of liquidation. Look at that, I spelt liquidation wrong. Would you sell your gold while the price is lower than the cost? Would you sell Bitcoin while the price is lower than the cost? Should you sell your Bitcoin code while the price is lower than the cost? No, of course not. That would be crazy. If you paid $500,000 for your house and there's a drop in the market and it now goes down to $200,000, would that be the right time to sell your house? No. The concept of an asset is something that you hold because of its potential future value. And that is what we have in Bitcoin code. So if you never mine and you never harvest Bitcoin code will be worthless. It will only have value if you get active and start bringing it on chain. Bitcoin code value is in your hands, in your hands only. Remember, asset management 101. HODL, HODL, HODL. There you go. Okay, there you go. Thank you very much, and I hope that has helped you understand that the future of Bitcoin code is going to be massive. Some of you will never get the value out of that because you're not understanding the principle of an asset, or you're refusing to take part in the principle of an asset. Those of you that do, you will reap the rewards. Chavez spent 3 years building the blockchain, building the NFT miners, creating the B fuel before he even come to us. Remember, he didn't design that system for us. He already had it. Bitcoin code would already be probably over $1,000 had he have not brought it to the community, because he would have brought in big companies, big investors who would have bought tons and tons of $5,000 miners. They would have been mining like crazy. They would have been harvesting like crazy. And Bitcoin code would have probably gone to the exchanges in 2023, mid 2024. And it would already be maybe $1,000. Because asset managers are called asset managers because they understand the principle of an asset. It's not about the value now. It's about the value next month, next year, the years ahead, that's going to make it a life-changing asset for everybody, just like Bitcoin did. Okay, so I think that's everything. I'm not going to open to Q&A because obviously there's not much I can really answer. So let's just wrap things up. So let me bring up this. Okay, so just a quick reminder for everybody. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday is business presentation day. This is a part of the plug and play system where you can bring your new community to come and see the vision of 3FO and how 2026 can be way more successful than 2025. Wednesday, of course, is community call with Chavez, but right now he is locking in everything for liquid pay and DO banking so that we can have a bank, our own bank in our pocket. Friday's community support training and Q&A. So I'll be having a discussion with Carl and we will decide what we're going to bring to the community on Friday. And that, of course, will be followed by a live Q&A. So you're welcome to join us and ask anything that you want to ask. Monday to Thursday is at 7 p.m. UK time and, of course, at 7 p.m. EST time for the US prime time. Friday is just one Zoom and that's at 9 p.m. UK time, 4 p.m. EST time. Saturday and Sunday is personal business day. My advice would be to start growing your community and accelerating your journey through these panels and generating Ethereum wealth. Of course, as I said at the very beginning, Sunday is our brand new community Zoom where you can come and have your voice, have your say, get to know us, we get to know you, Everybody is part of this conversation, and who knows what suggestions are going to come up that could shape the future of this company. So every Sunday at 7 p.m. UK time, 11 p.m. UAE time, 2 p.m. EST time. For anybody, for the US prime time, Carl and I are now running US prime time, and we're doing a special offer at this moment for the foreseeable future. Anybody that comes to see us and joins us on US prime time and stays all the way through to the end and has just bought a 3FO ignition pack, then if you come to the US prime time and put your hand up when we ask for it, then you will qualify to get a free $50 miner, and we'll even throw in a little bit of BTCC so that you can start mining and you can begin that Bitcoin code mining journey. But you have to be on US prime time, you have to have invested in an ignition pack, and you have to stay for the whole duration of the US prime time Zoom. Okay. There you go. I'm sure everybody's heard enough of my voice for this evening. So thank you all very, very much for attending this evening. Please be here again tomorrow for presentation day, and of course Friday's Q&A and training session. And remembering, if you want to see this again, me and Carl will be here for US prime time at midnight tonight UK time, 7 p.m. EST time.